This is not on topic. This whole episode is pretty much not on topic.
So did those guys really name their app after a meme? Huh? Buckle up, fellow kids. It's time for FounderQuest.
How y'all doing?
I'm doing.
Yeah, about the same.
I've been riding my scooter to work all week.
Oh, how's that?
It's a lot of fun. So got a little electric kick scooter and top speed about 25 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And I was concerned about it being able to get up the hill on the hill that I have to go back up on my way home. And it does drag a bit on that hill. So I only got a single motor. Guess I should have gone with a dual motor. But otherwise it's fun. It's nice to be out in nature, I guess, air quotes, because, you know, you're still like on the road and you're still mixing with cars and stuff. But, you know, being able to see the sun coming up over the hills and down into the valley, and while you're just having the feeling of the wind on your face, it's all good.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. I don't know. It seems terrifying to me, but I'm sure it's a lot of fun.
It helped that I have done a lot of bike riding on roads for the past several years. So I'm already comfortable with the idea of mixing it up with cars, you know, and weaving in and out of traffic and, you know, realizing that people aren't going to see me and things like that. So I think if I had just gone from driving a car straight to riding a scooter in the bike lane, that would be a little more terrifying.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Next, you're going to have to upgrade to like one of the electric, like skateboards or like a one wheel or something. Just remove the handlebars.
Right. Yeah,
this is leading up to, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, we're just working up to hoverboards. I mean, I commute to my backyard office, so maybe I should get like a zip line or something from the main house.
I like that. Yeah.
Then I could be equally like extreme.
We want a zip line at our place, like out into the forest.
That would be fun.
You could do a zip line from your deck to the sandbox.
Yeah,
send the kids out.
The kids would love. Well, I was thinking more for myself though. Like, screw the kids. Like, they don't need a zip line.
There you go. That's actually not a bad idea. Like, we're gonna get
that would be cool, though.
A new deck in the fall, and I had thought it would be fun to like put like a fireman pole on one side or something, so like kids could like slide down it. It's a small. It's raised up a little bit, but not that much. It's like perfect kid sliding size.
That would be totally awesome.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, we have been loving our new deck that we have had for like a month and a half or something now, and it's a new deck. It's if you have a really old like rickety deck, a new one is a big upgrade, and also ours is like a little bit larger too, so it's like, you know, bigger house almost.
Oh, that's great. We don't even have a deck. Like, well, this one's gonna go, so it's just like a stairway.
I think you're gonna like it, Star.
I think so too. I know, deck life. It's going to be covered.
It's the small things.
I know. Like, all I want is to be able to like go out on a nice evening or something and sit and drink a cup of tea and be outside.
Where do you drink the sweet tea in the summer? Like, if you don't have a front porch.
Yeah, that's the main problem with houses up here in the Northwest is there's not real front porches. Yeah. We have one that's kind of like a weird like nod at a front porch. It's like somebody maybe had seen a front porch once when they were. And we're like, maybe I'll try and do that from memory without really knowing like what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah. Some of the ones in Portland have them, but they're like boxed in usually. And
yeah.
And they're the older houses.
Pretty cool.
Like the old Craftsman's or whatever.
Yeah. The stately, like grand doms.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here in Kirkland, we're destroying all those old houses and putting in.
Thank God.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I drove by one this morning. So this morning was the first morning since I got my scooter that I actually didn't ride the scooter because it was raining and the ground was wet. I was like, I don't want to do that this morning. So I just drove. So I drove past this house yesterday it was a house. Today it's a pile of sticks because they sold the lot and, you know, they're going to split it into probably, 4 lots and put in some townhouses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's always a sad thing, but, you know, people got to have a place to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame. They tore down a house on my block too. And except it was a condemned house and it looked like the kind of like gingerbread fairy house that you'd find on just a random stroll in the woods where you'd go inside and you'd find just a delicious meal laid out on a table just waiting for you. And so I'm a little sad it's gone just for the, I guess the storytelling aspects, the mythology of it. But I guess it's probably best not to have just condemned structures hanging out.
I still do feel like Ida's missing out with your telling of that story. Like I feel a little sad for you all.
I know.
Yeah, and you're totally missing the threat possibilities there. Like don't misbehave, or I'll send you over to the gingerbread house.
Oh my God, yeah, yeah. Lots of great ways to traumatize my child.
Speaking of traumatizing children, I was scrolling through Twitter the other day, and the Washington State Department of Health had a tweet. I don't remember what the tweet was, but they had a GIF embedded in it, and it was Stimpy from Ren and Stimpy. It was a scene from the show. And I thought, that's from the Department of Health? Like, my generation is now in charge. Because we're putting in...
the Twitter account, at least.
Yeah.
Exactly. That was like the weird... It's like, I'm an adult. That was the weird experience.
Yeah, it is kind of strange when like like people in charge like start looking more and more like you until you realize they're just like, yeah.
They're just little kids, just like
yeah.
And then you wonder why the hell they're in charge.
Yeah, and I'm getting like Paul Ryan listening to Rage Against the Machine vibes from this. So
that's what I'd be playing if I was in charge of the Department of Health's
there we go
Twitter account.
So I think this week it's all been a little bit, I don't know, we're all maybe a little bit having a hard time focusing. I know I have a little bit just because it seems like that happens every spring. As soon as the weather gets nice and then it stops being nice and then gets nice and then it stops being nice.
Yeah.
It's like you're just on edge. You're waiting by the door with your kayak and you just, got to get the jump on it before everybody else gets to the lake.
I think that's a big part of it. Also, allergies have been kicking my butt lately.
Oh my God,
and,
yeah.
Like I was really on top of it this year, but then like I ran out of my like Zyrtec or whatever. And I had been like, it was on the list to, like replenish the supply or whatever, but I procrastinated and missed a few days. And that's just like, that's a huge mistake. So that was this week. And now I switched to Claritin. That's the big news of my week.
Oh my gosh. So I'm getting vaccinated later today, my second dose. And
nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
And I think I'm still going to keep wearing the KN95 respirators outside though, just for the allergies. Because it seems like a difference.
It's probably a good call.
Yeah. Yeah. I was helping a neighbor with some yard work and doing a bunch of weeding and had the weed whacker out and there's just dirt flying everywhere. And I'm like, man, I should really wear a mask. I was like, how ironic. Like I've got 1,000 masks in my house and I'm not wearing one as I'm doing all this dusty stuff,
Yeah, that's a good thing to do.
Oh, this is reminding me, I need to stock up before fire season.
Mm-hmm. So a few years ago when we had the really bad fire season, we got some VOG masks. So this is before the world knew that you're supposed to wear masks, and the VOG masks are fantastic. They're fabric masks that have the filtering stuff on the inside. And highly recommend. Put a link in the show notes. Nice. Good stuff. Cool. Yeah, when pandemic hit, of course, they were like out of stock immediately because everybody and their brother wanted one. They've been back in stock and they're nice masks. They're really nice.
Well, one thing that we have been doing is sort of like casually just like checking out alternatives to Basecamp for our internal company sort of message board. And I don't know, I feel like we're just kind of like perusing the alternatives. And it's been a little bit difficult finding just a system out there that's like just a simple threaded message board without like a million complex like adjustments for running like a forum that has thousands of people. And somebody on Twitter yesterday recommended Threads. So I don't know. I think we're currently kind of evaluating that one, but no decisions yet.
Is that
threads.com?
Like, I was going to say like, is that Twitter Threads? Like you just, we do all of our communicating in, like just public threads.
No, we're just going to use Twitter stories. We're just going to take some pics of ourselves.
I mean,
different expressive.
If we're trying to go the opposite direction of Basecamp, we could just, I guess this is kind of like Basecamp, just do all of our communication via thought leadership.
There you go.
What if we did all of our internal communication via TikTok?
Okay, yeah. I'm getting this. Yes, I'm on board with this. We're just going to be influencers, and like whoever is the most influential is gonna.
And yeah,
win.
You know what? If our employees don't like it, too bad. You're getting a Twitter account, and it's getting verified.
Yeah, they can interpret our really random TikTok video and try and figure out what it means. That's how they'll discover our disapproval.
On the Basecamp thing, though, it was interesting as I was looking at it this week and realizing that the only thing that we use in Basecamp is messages along with the files. Like we sometimes attach files to our messages, but
or email forwards.
Occasionally we do an email forward, but we don't.
Occasionally we do calendars, but we also have Google Calendars. So
right.
We could
and Slack and
Notion.
And Notion. So we don't do to-dos. We don't do hill charts. We don't really use the project management side of the project management software that we're using. So, but the thing that's weird is like, as I was looking at alternatives this week, like I looked at Monday.com and ClickUp and I don't know, a few different ones. They're all like these project management things. And it's like, well, we don't really manage projects. We do that kind of via chat or via a Zoom call once in a while or via Notion. We don't use a project management tool for that. And so it's like, oh yeah, all we really need are threads, conversations.
Yeah. And it's the sort of thing where like you could just do it in email, but there's not like, it's nice having that archival ability, the ability to go back and sort of check things out and not have it dependent on like, oh, maybe I deleted that message by accident or whatever.
Well, and you could do it in Slack, but then you end up with the weird like history aspect of it. And you'd have to like have some sort of like, you have to create like a channel for it with rules so it doesn't end up being just a chat. You have to like, the rule of this channel is like, every message is a thread and it's like, or a post or whatever.
Yeah.
But
you kind of have to do it manually.
Yeah.
Oh, I did look at Twist, and that was pretty cool, pretty close, but it also has chat. It's like, well, I don't want a second chat since we already use Slack. We're not going to ditch Slack, so.
Yeah. I mean, Basecamp has chat too.
Right, and we don't use that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we could use Twist. Twist is pretty nice.
Like, I think we just need we need threaded messages. We need, everything to be archived. And we need like some way to, see what people have been writing on lately, like see what the latest activity is. Like that's basically it. Like I don't even use notifications. Like, I mean, I get them, but I don't really like, I see them, but usually by the time I see them, like that's not my process. I don't like look at my notifications and be like, oh, I better check this out. I like, I check out the messages like at a set time basically. So.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, the forum software, like we looked at Discourse and it's just like way, way too much. Like, yeah, we get it. We just need a message board. We don't need like all the dials and knobs. It's totally a dials and knobs kind of application. Like, start looking at the settings, I'm like, whoa, okay. I'm just going to back away slowly.
It could be fun. Like if we want to be passive aggressive, we could like shadow ban people. We could like, just do all sorts of fun things.
But I suppose we don't have the hard requirement of supporting BB code, right? We can let that.
I was gonna say,
it's a negative requirement. I think supporting BB code is like, I think that's a detriment. So one thing that always really annoyed me about Basecamp is that it doesn't support Markdown, and everything else we use supports Markdown. So everything I have is in Markdown. And so if I write something in my personal notes, it's going to be in Markdown. And so if I want to like transfer that to like Basecamp, I've got to manually format it, which is just like, what am I? Like, what is this? Like, who do you think I am?
That's like my number one gripe with the Basecamp. Like the editor is just, a WYSIWYG editor that like I constantly like, even just like when I'm writing and I'm trying to like, I want to make a list and I just type a dash, like I normally in like most things these days, and it just doesn't do anything in Basecamp. And I remember, I have to get my mouse and click on the bullet. And
yeah,
it's a huge hassle.
I can imagine your quality of life being dramatically.
It's just like,
by that.
I mean, we wouldn't be developers if we weren't complaining about things like that.
Like right? This is why I'm wearing wrist braces. Okay.
Whoa, dual wrist braces.
But yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Like I want to be able to type star space stuff, and I get a list.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So it looks like threads.com has, it does support Markdown, which is nice. I don't know. I haven't really played around with it a ton. Like some aspects of its design, like I'm not super happy. I wish I wish the column widths were a little wider and stuff, but also I don't like certain aspects of Basecamp's design. So it's kind of a toss up for me.
So I did an export of our Basecamp content, and I got to say their export is fantastic. They give you an HTML page that links to a bunch of other pages and, per topic or project or team, whatever they call it. And, the files are there, and it's really well done. So I think if anyone's looking for inspiration on doing exports in their app, they should totally look at Basecamp. They nailed it. It's actually usable. Like you get this zip file, you open it up, and bam, you can just browse through all your stuff.
That's pretty great. Yeah, I guess I should be clear. I think maybe I started this sort of casual looking for alternatives just because I've seen a lot of stuff online about people are angry at Basecamp. It's I'm not really angry at them. I'm just this isn't really the point. I'm kind of sad and disappointed in them. But also a lot of the reason why I think they have had our business and they've had my business, I've stored personal stuff in my personal Basecamp account. It's just because it's okay, they're trustworthy. And that feeling of trustworthiness has kind of gone down a few pegs for me. And I just kind of felt gross logging in there because it's if you haven't been keeping up with this, part of the deal is they were making fun of people's names and stuff. And it's there's some so it's I don't know, are they making fun of my name? I've got a weird name. Are they going through my stuff, making fun of it? I know that they have access to pretty much everything or everything that I put into Basecamp. So also is this even if they're not doing that now, are they going to do that in the future? Because it seems like they're going in that direction of less. It seems like they're shutting down kind of people trying to hold them internally accountable for that sort of thing. So I don't know. It's just kind of a gross feeling. I'm just kind of sad about the whole thing.
Yeah. Personally, I kind of doubt that that's I kind of got the feeling the list was more of a artifact from the past and it had stuck around for too long. And I didn't get the feeling that they're condoning that sort of activity really, but I get what you're saying. And also for me, a big factor of it, it's not even just that I'm mad at them or something. They did lose 30% of their company and they're supporting two products now, one which is a major infrastructure product, unlike, which is basically email. So they have operation overhead and stuff. And they did just lose 30% of their company, including their head of strategy, but basically head of product. So I just wonder where is the product going from here? It was already kind of I felt a little bit stagnating. I don't know. I think they've been working on the next version of it is what I heard, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems there are questions about just the stability from that nature too.
So I'm probably in a third place from you two, and I probably care the least. I'm yeah, it's a message board. Yeah, they can make fun of my name. Okay, I had that happen when I was 10. People do that. It's get on.
Yeah.
I have a hard time getting up the energy to care, I guess. That's what it comes down to.
Don't mistake me. I'm not up in arms about it. This is more of kind of a passive feeling. It's oh, I've got to go on Basecamp and check my things. Oh, I just feel kind of crummy about it.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those friction things in your life you just don't need. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. And it's I'm just this is a message board. Why should I be having to deal with this just to go check some messages?
Right.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I think all of us are really just talking these are passing thoughts we have using the product in light of the drama of the past few weeks.
Yeah. And if we end up staying on it, I'm not going to be super upset. I'll probably get over it. It's just, I don't know. It just seems like it might be nice to try something different, especially if we can get that sweet Markdown.
Yeah. I've been surprised that there are so few products that are just about this one use case of the simple messages. I expected there to be, tons of things to try, and no.
Yeah. And of course, there's now in our company Notion, there's now a design document
Of course.
A simple.
Because we're going to build our own.
We're going to build our own, of course. What does any good tech team do when they're so frustrated with the 20 solutions out in the market? They build solution number 21.
Of course.
Yeah, maybe we'll build that. So the code name for that project is Budgie. I named it Budgie because I went to do the Google search. I'm like, okay, what's a communicative type of animal? What's a social animal? And so I can't remember the search I did, but the first thing I got turned up was like the most social birds. I don't know. And so there's this list of birds, and Budgie was number one bird. And so I'm like, okay, cool. And then I was like, well, what kind of domains are available? Because of course, when you start a project, you have to buy the domain, right? Before you do anything else, you got to go buy that domain. And so surprisingly, and perhaps not surprisingly in retrospect, like every variant of Budgie is taken. Like, of course, budgie.com, but also like budgie.app and budgieapp.com. I'm like, wow, how many? And they're all like for sale. None of them are actual products. They're all, parked and they're for sale. I'm like, okay, so a bunch of people have had this idea about what's a social animal, or I guess budgies are really popular for pets, right? And so they're like looking for the ad arbitrage opportunities with people looking for, how do I take care of my budgie, or whatever. Anyway, yeah, just kind of a diversion.
That's interesting. The first thing that pops into mind when I heard that, like, I like the name. It's a cute name. And there's this there's this really good Australian kids cartoon called Bluey. And there's an episode where they find a little budgie that's like injured and it dies. And so the kids have to like come to terms with that. And it's just, I don't know. It's just like the little budgie died.
Bluey is like one of the best cartoons ever, by the way.
Yeah, Bluey. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah,
never heard of it.
It's super good. It basically, the whole cartoon is just like these kids, they're dogs with their kids. They're just like making up games to play with each other. And so how it works is like, the kids watching the show like see it and it's like, okay, that makes them want to play that game too. And so it's just not like dumb TV. It's like, it's sort of like gets them kind of like doing stuff outside of the TV, which is kind of nice.
That's a really good analysis of the show. I hadn't thought about that aspect of it, but come to think of it, like my kids totally imitate them.
Oh yeah.
Like
I know, just
all over
because,
us.
like, I now have to like play every game in that show, and I've got to know them by name, what the rules are. So
yeah, one of the things we like about it is just they really got like the sibling dynamic down. Like it is like our kids to a T. So yeah, it's pretty funny. Or now that I think about it, maybe it's like our kids have now become the characters in this show.
It's a good thing you don't watch The Simpsons.
Oh no. Actually, we do watch The Simpsons.
Is The Simpsons still on?
It's on Disney Plus.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It is still a thing.
They're still they're still making it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what to think about that.
We don't watch much of The Simpsons with them yet, 3 and 4 year old. I don't know if I'm quite ready for a couple of little like Bart and Lisa's.
Totally. Yeah, you put that off as long as you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I actually did a little bit of work this week. I was working on something, I don't know what, and I noticed that one of the tests was running kind of long, like it was just stuck. I don't usually watch tests. I don't usually run the tests, actually. I just let our CI/CD run the test. I don't even worry about it, right? But this morning, for some reason, I don't know, I was working on something. And I happened to be running the tests, and I noticed that one of the tests was just stuck. That's weird. And so I did a little investigation. Turns out that a number of our tests do some domain name server resolution, because we have, like, for webhooks, when someone puts in a webhook, we want to verify that the destination is not like a private thing. They're not trying to like do that's our EC2 credentials and stuff like that. And so it does some checks like, is this a private IP address? Does this domain name actually resolve? Blah, 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 blah. And also for our uptime checks. Obviously, people are putting in domains for that too. So turns out that, I don't know, maybe it was my machine. Maybe it was the internet being dumb, whatever. But the domain name resolution was what was holding up the test. And like this happens, as you can imagine, in a variety of places in our tests. And so like this one test suite that I was running, which is only like, I don't know, 7 or 8 tests, it was taking a minute or 2 minutes to run. And then I fixed this so that it stopped doing the domain name resolution, and it took 2 seconds. So
wow.
Yeah, it's slight improvement to our test suite there. So quality
you
of life improvement.
benchmark like overall? Because that's got to be a huge improvement if it's doing that everywhere.
Well, it's not doing that everywhere, and I haven't. I did do a push, so I have to go and check and see what GitHub, see if it was dropped that time. I haven't looked yet.
Well, it might have been like whatever was wrong with your DNS resolution in the first place that was causing it to be extra slow, right? Like if DNS would it be faster if DNS was fast?
Yeah, it could have been. I actually did some tests on my laptop at the time. I'm like, is my DNS resolution slow? No.
Okay, so it's
the test. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, so it's just resolving a bunch of like actual URLs in the test. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
Nice work. That you reminded me that I did some work this week too. I added very important work, I must say. I added a yak to our Slackbot. to where if you mention the word yak when you're interacting with the Slackbot now, it will return. You should do it in Slack. Just whatever BadgerBot, say like BadgerBot yak me.
Okay,
okay, do it.
Oh, sorry, it's the wrong channel. Hold on.
You got to do it in general, I think.
Yeah. Come on, BadgerBot. Oh my god, it's a little text-based yak.
Yeah,
I love him.
Well, yeah, because this came about because earlier this week I was like just passively mentioning in chat that I'm like just yak shaving. My entire life is yak shaving, and that just got us talking about this. Like, why doesn't why don't we have some representation of that in our chat, in our Slack, in our Slack? So obviously I had to stop everything I was doing and build that right away. And of course there were some, like escaping issues that came up as a result of that. So obviously I had to deploy a few hot fixes. Nice.
the whole episode amuses me. Like I love it. Like I would do exactly the same. But what also amuses me is that we already have as part of Slack Giphy, right? And you could just like dump a picture of a yak in there. But you're like, no, that's not good enough. No. I must have an ASCII yak.
It's got to be an ASCII yak. Yeah.
It's just great. Love technology.
Yeah. I kind of miss Hubot, like where it would just automatically, like if you just mention it, maybe I should change our Slackbot so that it does that. So if you say yak, a wild yak appears. By the way, that's what the text at the bottom of the ASCII yak says, a wild yak appears. So like, yeah, I just wish like it would pop up if someone like just mentions it in a chat, like if they're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we could do that. It's listening to everything, right?
That'd be funny.
Like we used to have Hubot, and every time you said ship, it would show the ship a squirrel.
The ship a squirrel. And that like, that definitely would like annoying at times, but overall I'd say it was worth it.
Totally worth it.
Yeah, definitely. I do remember some times where like things were on fire and it's just like popping up funny GIFs and it's just like, not now, Hubot, not now.
Yeah.
Go sit in the corner. Should have had that command. Like, go away for a while.
Yeah. Or just make it a separate, maybe we should just make this a separate bot that you don't have to have in your ops channel. Maybe this will be our next product.
Oh, there you go. It's like when you mention yak, it turns into like an Oregon Trail type hunting scene with the yak, and you have to you have to like shoot the very slow pixel at it.
Mm-hmm. I do love this aspect of our business of being, I assume it's like a side effect of being small. Like, I don't know. I'm sure like large teams also do this, like just kind of I didn't spend a day on this, but like spend a day just like doing something completely useless. But I like that we can do that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And the total lack of responsibility, to be honest.
Is there a total lack of responsibility? I don't know.
I
think you could argue that there is a total lack of responsibility.
Maybe relatively.
Maybe.
I think we're speaking relatively.
Relatively? Well, there's like responsibility to customers, but I don't know. Do they count? Nah.
Speaking of being a small company, just because of a recent acquisition of one of our competitors, I had gone to look at what some of our other competitors, what status they were, and I was just blown away with how many employees our competitors have. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
what are they doing with all those people? Or they have a professional volleyball team or something? Like,
not in the past year.
Well, they play over Zoom.
It's a professional Pong league now.
There you go.
So we have 5 employees. The competitor with the closest that I looked at, that has the closest number of employees, comes in at a hefty 71. And then the largest number that I found was 147 employees.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
The competitor, the first one you mentioned with the 70-something employees, and I assume like over $100 million in funding, were they the ones that were recently like bragging on Twitter about how much more usage they have than everyone else?
I don't know, because I don't remember seeing that bragging.
They were, but it was, it was kind of funny. Like, yeah, you would probably be the major player.
Yeah, that's something I've definitely learned throughout the course of running this business, is that a company that has tens or, I don't know, 100, do you say $100 million? That's a lot. Of funding can do more work than like 3 people, even if those 3 people are very, very good. It's right. It's like they can do more work, and that's all right. And we're just going to like have our little garden patch over here. It doesn't matter if like ConAgra is like a mile down the road. Like, they can do their thing. We can do our thing.
Yeah.
As long as they don't let their seeds blow into our farmland, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. But let me just ask you a question. Like, so like when it comes to like buying your like strawberries for your traditional like summer like strawberry shortcake, are you going to go to that just wonderfully, just delightful artisanal farm down the road, or are you just going to like slide over to ConAgra and get some of their like strawberry shaped objects?
I gotta say, I love roadside fruit stands. Those are the best. Like when cherry season happens here in Washington, like going and grabbing a whole mess of cherries from some random person that's just parked on the side of the road. I mean, it's awesome.
So my favorite ones are the ones that like, if you stop and think about it, it's like, so when I used to live in Arkansas, and like one time I was walking by and there was like a roadside fruit stand just with oranges. And it's like, hold up. Oranges don't grow in Arkansas. Like, what is this? So I don't know if he just went to Costco and got a bunch of oranges, or maybe he did like the Cannonball Run from Florida straight up.
No, road trip.
It was selling oranges all the way up, but there was some explaining to do.
I didn't realize it until I was saying it, but it really does sound ridiculous that you're going to go and get some food items from some random person on the side of the road. But I love roadside fruit stands. They're great.
I don't know. In this day and age, probably. Yeah. But maybe things should be more like that. Maybe that would solve some problems.
Well, coming back to the front porch thing, do you know that country song, If the World Had a Front Porch?
No, I don't.
Definitely have to link it up in the show notes. But yeah, it's all about like, if the world had a front porch like we did back then, right? Then things would be better, right? People would be more friendly. We'd be chatting with our neighbors. Yeah, things just be overall be good. So, yeah.
We'd all know each other.
Yeah. Is that true? Is that true?
Well, I gotta say, I grew up in the Deep South, and I did not have a front porch. And none of my friends had a front porch because we all lived in the same neighborhood and all the houses were the same, right? But we were all still pretty friendly, even though we didn't have front porches. So, well,
I had a front porch and people were assholes. So I think the correlation between front porches and nice people is kind of is weak.
In the song, though, isn't it more like a metaphor? Like,
yeah, I mean, you could say the internet's the world's front porch, and like, look how great that's worked out.
If you just just build a front porch.
Sure, it's a nice song. I don't mean to make fun of the song. I'm sure it's a good song.
You build a front porch that the entire population of the world could fit on. Just see how that goes.
That's
it. Like, oh shit, we deforested the Amazon to get the wood for this.
We should name our little message board product Front Porch.
Front Porch. Oh, that's nice. And like, you can have like add-ons to that, like for upgrades. Like, it could be like, you could get the rocking chair or like the Whitland knife.
Yep. And the sweet tea.
The sweet tea. Yeah.
Or the mint julep.
Was like sweet tea a thing when you were a kid?
Yes.
Okay. Like, did people like refer to it as like, ooh, sweet tea. It's
No.
a thing.
People just refer to it as tea. Because
thank you.
There was no other tea, right? It was just that.
Okay.
But it was sweet.
Yeah, it was sweet, of course.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, of course. It's
That's the only tea that existed.
Like, yeah. But
none of this.
Yeah, okay.
None of this Earl Grey hot business. No.
I just saw, I just noticed, I don't know, around 2007, everybody started talking about sweet tea. It's like, what? What's this?
Yeah, totally. It's a Southern thing on the YouTube. Their channel is pretty funny. They go into the sweet tea thing quite a bit. So I guess if you want some additional context, do some research on that whole aspect. You can go and watch that YouTube channel. I'll have to link it up in the show notes.
Yeah, I will check that out. Well, would you gentlemen like to wrap it up? I think I've got to start. Okay. I'm gonna be Southern here. I'm fixing to get ready to think about going to my vaccine appointment.
Yet. You know that joke? Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that joke. What?
Okay, so it's like, two Southern guys. All right, one's like, "Jeet yet?"
Oh, gee, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Nope. You want to?
I haven't been in a while.
Yeah.
I haven't been back in a while.
Oh, good times. Sometimes I miss the South, but not during the summer.
Yeah. One of my favorite words that is like, I think it might be a local Arkansas word is tump. It's a verb, tump. It's the action of tipping something over and dumping out its contents. Specifically, like the perfect use case is a wheelbarrow. Like you tump out the wheelbarrow. I'm sorry, tump out the wheelbar.
Totally.
I am learning so much on this episode, by the way.
There you go. It's the culture.
About the South. It's great. Like I'm learning more about, This is your second vaccine appointment, right?
Yeah, it's the second one.
And final. For now.
So I'm ready for it to hit me. I'm just bring the storm, hit me. Bring it on. Yeah.
Mine was like a 48-hour ordeal, but back to normal now. Feel great.
Well, that's good. You got your superpowers.
Yeah.
Oh, good luck with that.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe one day we'll be able to have like a conclave in person again. Although I might need like the support of a therapist or something. Because just like, I mean, I like y'all, but like, I don't know if I'm over the droplets yet.
We can still wear masks.
Okay, that's good. Thank God. Okay. Well, all right. I will talk to y'all later.
FounderQuest is a weekly podcast by the founders of Honeybadger. Zero instrumentation, 360-degree coverage of errors, outages, and service degradations for your web apps. If you have a web app, you need it. Available at honeybadger.io. Want more from the founders? Go to founderquestpodcast.com. That's one word, where you can access our huge back catalog of episodes. FounderQuest is available on iTunes, Spotify, and other purveyors of fine podcasts. We'll see you next week.